All right, this second video is about much more complex factoring. Um, this is the level you need to be at. So definitely get into the mindset that you will learn how to do this. It's not too hard for you. You can do it. Okay, so remember when I said, hey, the first question in factoring, okay, is what's in common? I don't care what kind of omial you have, what kind of polynomial you have. The first question is what's in common. Take a look. 2y squared, 10y, negative 48. 2 is in common. We are going to kick that 2 out first. That is the first step. So we're going to factor out a 2. It means we divide each of these by 2. I no longer show this. I'm going to do it one last time, but mentally you kind of need to be there where you factor this out. Plus 5y minus 24. There. Okay. Then you have to say, so the first one is, okay, the first one is what's in common. The second one is how many terms. And this is gonna inform what you do next. If it's a binomial, you're gonna do a certain thing, but we haven't hit that yet. We'll talk about the only binomials that you can factor later. If it's a trinomial, you are going to try to factor it. If it is a quadranomial, you're going to try factor by grouping. I actually have a really nice flow chart that I'll try to remember. Okay. So now we look. Okay. And once you factor, the next question is always going to be, or the last one, can I factor further? You always need to ask this question because there might be a way you can factor further. So looking here, I factored out a 2. I'm not done. I have to ask myself, can I factor further? Okay. And the answer is yes, I can. Maybe, because it's quadratic. So possibly I could split this into two things. Y and Y. I need to break up 24. 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. Honest to God, people whine so much about writing the factors, and they try to do it in their head and take at least 5 times as long. Okay? Now we ask ourselves, we know these multiply together to get 24. How can we get a positive 5? What two factors will make a positive 5 when we add them together or subtract them, really? In this case, the signs are different, so it's going to be subtraction. Okay, so you can see you can't get a 5 except for with these guys. And how could you get a 5? A positive 8 and a negative 3. So we're going to go positive 8 minus 3. Okay, check it. First, you do this. Y squared minus 3y plus 8y minus 24. And you get y squared plus 5y minus 24 in the parentheses. And you can see that if you multiplied it by 2, you would be back to where you were. So yay, moving on. Okay, again, what's in common? Is there anything in common? And the answer is yes, a 3. Kick out the 3. I'm going to go this way because I'm tired of scrunching down here. 3 times and divide each of these by 3. Whatever you kick out, you divide by it. U squared, I told you I wasn't going to write it, and then there I did. I wrote it. Okay. Then you go, can I factor further? Well, possibly because it's quadratic. Say that, it's quadratic, okay? U and a U, factors of 30. 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, 5 times 6. We're trying to get a positive 1. The only one that works is a 5 and a 6. The others are too far apart. How can we get a positive 1? with a positive 6 and a negative 5. So plus 6 minus 5. Okay, and then you check it. And people whine so much about checking. It takes you longer to complain about whining than it does to actually multiply it out. And guess what? On a test, I'm actually going to ask you to show all your work on this test. Okay? So there's no point in whining. I want you to be able to finish the problem and go, oh, dude, I totally got this right. Because if I multiply it again, I'm back to where I started from. So I know I factored it correctly. Okay? Moving on. All right. This is the beginning of the tougher problems. All right? There is no fast way to the end here. There is a simple, brain dead kind of way, which I was going to show you, called the AC method. Okay. The AC method is used to factor quadratics with a leading coefficient greater than 1. That's what the AC method is for. So look, anything in common? Nope. But look, dang it, there's a stupid 2 there. That is going to change everything. So the way you are normally taught is to guess and check. Literally, just get all the little combos. You go 2z times z, because we know it has to be 2z times z to get 2z squared. And then you just start putting in junk, like 3 and 7. Okay, and then seeing if that works. And then let's try it. Sometimes you hit it on the first try, and sometimes you don't. We also know the signs are going to be different, so put in some signs, 2 different signs, just to test it out. Ready? 2z times z is 2z squared. 2z times plus 7 is plus 14z, minus 3z, and minus 21. Okay, well, we got the minus 21 and we got the 2z squared. That's good. We got those. But we didn't get the middle one. What is wrong? We got close though. Look at that. Okay, we got the wrong sign. So what that tells us is we need to go back in and change this to a plus, that to a minus. Because then what that'll do is when you FOIL it, it's going to change this sign and that sign. Look, 2z times z, 2z squared. 2z times negative 7, negative 14. 3 times z is positive 3z. And then when you combine these two, you'll subtract and get negative 11z. And there you go. Okay. That's how you guess and check. Let's say you didn't get that right. Then you might try 2z minus 7 times z plus 3, like switch the 7 and the 3. Okay? If you have more factors than 21, it gets really awful. So I'm going to teach you the AC method. The AC method is the preferred method of people who don't want to think about it too hard, aka my daughter, who hated trying to think too much, so she preferred the AC method, and this is the way it goes. And I find that most kids do too. The only problem is, stop that. The only problem is that most kids forget the AC method. Like it's something you have to memorize and something you have to remember. It's hard. So write it down because you will be able to use notes, okay? So the first thing you do in the AC method is get mad at your computer, okay? Here's what you do. You go actually, let me not do that. Yeah, let me rewrite the problem. 2z squared minus 11z minus 21. The reason why it's called the AC method is because in standard form, this is A, that is C. What we're going to do is we are going to use a trick, and all of this is just a trick. So the first step is you multiply A times C. In other words, in this case, A is 2, C is negative 21. You go 2 times negative 21 and you get negative 42. The second step in the AC method is to factor it. I'm going to put factor AC. Okay, we're going to factor that. So negative 42, what does it factor into? Okay, you could go 1 times negative 42. I'm not going to put signs. Assume one of them is going to be positive and one's going to be negative. It'll take too long to list it, and you guys are going to be smart enough to figure that out. Okay, 3 times 3 goes 14, I think. Okay, and what we're looking for is a combo to get us to negative 11. Okay, factor AC to combine to get B, if you will. Okay, so negative 11. 3 and 14 will be negative 11. It's negative 14 and a positive 3. All right, I'm going to erase this because I need to come over here. And I don't want to go to another page because I want the whole method to be on the same page. Okay, I just need more room. All right, so we found it. Okay, so first, it sounds super complicated. I promise you, as soon as you do it like 3 times, you're like, oh my God, I don't even have to think for this one. And so a lot of people like it for that reason. Okay, so you multiply 2 times 20, A times C. Factor it, and look how to get B. That's the answer. Then you're going to rewrite it as a quaternomial. I don't know how to explain that. It's not really a quaternomial, but let's pretend. Let's pretend 4 terms. Okay, you're basically going to write these two. So you're going to rewrite it like this: 2z squared. And instead of putting 11z, this is the literal trick of this whole method. You are going to put these two numbers. You're going to put plus 3z minus 14z minus 21. Do you see what we literally just did? We split up 11z into two numbers that were factors of that other AC. Okay, now we're going to use factor by grouping, and hey, I get my negative number that I needed to show you guys. Okay, so here's factor by grouping. We group it with a staircase. What's in common? Z. Kick it out. Write what's left. Divide by z. You get 2z plus 3. What's in common here? Now we have to bring down the minus sign. This is where you got to be super careful, because we just brought out the minus sign. So what are we going to write? What's in common? 7. 7 goes into 14. 7 goes into 21. Negative 14z, okay, is going to get you 2, positive 2. See, negative divided by negative is a positive 2z. And then negative 21 divided by negative 7 is a positive 3. This is the number one mistake, but it's super easy to catch because look, these guys are supposed to match. So if you accidentally put a minus 3 there, go, oh, wait a minute, did I screw up on the minus sign? And the answer is probably going to be 99% yes. 2z plus 3 times z minus 7. And that's your answer. Okay, now it feels a lot more complex than just guess and check, and it can be. It can be, but it's always works every single time. And you don't have to guess and check. So it's up to you. I don't even guess. I do a whole different method, but whatever. I'm not going to teach you the way I do it because it never works. So, okay. I'm sorry. I'm yawning. It's late. But I really wanted to get this out to you guys. Okay, first question, factoring. Anything in common? Nope. How many terms? 3. It's quadratic. Could it possibly be factor? Possibly. Possibly. Who knows, right? Okay, so I'm going to guess and check first. 2y, y, factors of 15, 3 and 5. I'll just do that, 3 and 5. Okay, let's try them. Signs are going to be the same, and they're going to be a plus. Okay, If you don't remember that, you can just guess and check and you can figure it out. 10y. Oh my God, I hit it first step. Look at that. 2, I actually didn't know. Okay, I hit it on the first try. Okay, that was lucky. If I had put a 5 here and a 3 here, it wouldn't have worked out and I might have had to switch them. I'm going to show you the AC method. Okay. By the way, you always have to check these. Always, 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 always. Because you can't just look at them and figure it out. You basically have to go through the process. Okay, so here's the AC method. Here we go. 1 multiply A times C. So 2 times 15 equals 30. 2 factor 30. 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10. We are trying to get to 13, and there we got it. Plus 13 is going to be made up of a positive 10 and a positive 3. 3, rewrite the problem. 2y squared with these guys instead of the 13. Plus 3y plus 10y plus 15. Next, group it. Factor by grouping. Okay, we're going to get what's in common? Y. Okay, kick out the y and you'll get 2y plus 3. What's in common? 5. 2y plus 3. 2y plus 3 times y plus 5. And my tablet's about ready to burn my leg. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, same answer. Same answer. Okay, different methods. All right. Okay, factoring a quadratic. Here's a different kind of problem. Why is it different? Because look, the 4 is not prime. It could be either a 1 and a 4 or a 2 and a 2. So we don't know. So now you have to play with that first number. So because that is something you're going to have to play with, I still think the AC method might be easiest, but here's what you'd have to check. Okay, here's guess and check. I might try 4z times z and 5 and 1. Okay, I know the signs are different, so I could put plus and a minus and then just start guessing. Check it out. 4z squared minus 20 plus 1. You see that's not going to work. Okay, so that combo didn't work. Try something else. I'm just going to X out the bottom so I can still see the screw up, but didn't work. Oops. Okay, like that. We know that didn't work. So let's try a different one. Let me get a different color. Let me get green. Okay. Okay, so let's try a different one. Ready? We're going to go instead, why don't we put in, let's change the 5 and the 1. Leave the 4, z and the z there, but switch the 5 and the 1. So we have options here, plus, minus. Okay, check 4z squared minus 4z plus 5z minus 5. Okay, that's not going to get us there. That's a 1z. Okay, nope, not going to work. Okay, so now let's try, instead of 4 and 1, let's try 2 and 2. Okay, so let's go. 2z and z and 1 and 5. See, we're basically trying the same thing. 2z, 2z, sorry. Wow, that's ugly. I'm rewriting that. 2z, 2z. Okay, let's check it. Oh, I'll put plus and minus because why not? 4z squared minus 10z plus 2z minus 5. And lo and behold, we guessed it that time. Okay? That's not the answer. Do not do that. Everybody does that. They box in their check rather than their actual factoring, which is the real answer. Not that one. God. Guys, I swear it's late. Danger zone. My brain is in the danger zone. Okay, this is the correct answer right here. Okay, All right. Well, so you see how the guess and check works? You have to do a lot of FOILing and a lot of guessing and a lot of organizing. AC method. Here we go. 4 times 5 is 20. It's actually negative 20. But it doesn't really matter. Excuse me. So sorry. Factor. 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. Okay, we are looking to try to get an 8. Okay, we can get an 8 from a 10 and a 2 with a negative 10 and a positive 2. That's step 2. Okay, step 3 is rewrite the problem using these numbers instead of the negative 8. So 4z squared, I'll write the problem first. I want you to make very clear what I'm doing. Instead of this 8z, we're going to put negative 10z and plus 2z. Okay, and then you can see how that would be negative 8z, right? And then now we are going to do factor by grouping. So what's in common here? 2. So kick out the 2z actually. Okay, 2z times 2z minus 5. And what's in common here? Oh, this is a good example. What's in common? Nothing. So you put a 1 on the outside because there's an invisible 1 outside of every parentheses, so to speak. So 2z minus 5. Look, this is in common. 2z minus 5 times 2z plus 1. And in this case, don't you think this one seemed a little less problematic than that one? Okay, so it's up to you. All right, I think I was going to do another one, and then it was the same one. All right, here's another problem. Okay, again, what's in common is the very first question. And you can see there's nothing in common right there. Okay, sorry, I'm going to text my kid. Okay, nothing in common. All right, so then you would have to do guess and check. 3y, y, I don't know, 30, 3 and 10, right? So you're like, okay, here's 3y squared, 30. I'll put pluses because it's pluses. Plus 30 plus 3y plus 30. I got 33. No, even if I subtract them, I'll get 27, not 23. So that didn't work. Okay, so let's try switching them around. 3y plus 10 times y plus 3. Let's try that. So 3y squared plus 9y plus 10y plus 30. Nope, that's 19. Nope, that didn't work. Now I need to look at a different factorization, 30. So let's try 3y plus 6, 3y plus 5, 5 times 6. I'm not going to do 2 times 15. Maybe I should have. I jumped from 3 and 10 to 6 and 5. 9y squared. Oops, that's not right. This is why we check. There's no 3 there. Silly me. 3y squared plus 15y plus 6y. That's 21, not 23. Nope. Okay, let's try this. 6 and a 5. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I shouldn't do that. I should rewrite it. Sorry. 3y plus 6 and times y plus 5. Is that right? No, that's what I just did. This is why you don't this is why you don't erase like I would try to do. It's too hard to remember what you did. This is why guess and check gets a little icky. Plus 18y plus 5y plus 30. Yes, that's 23. Yay, this is the answer. Okay, so you can see that's kind of a pain if you don't hit it right. Okay, again, I'm going fast. You guys can pause it at any time so that you can get the work. Okay, here we go. You ready? Okay, AC method. 3 times 30 is step 1. 90. Factor it. 1 times 90. 2. We're trying to get to 23. 2 times 45. 3 times 30. Does 4 go into 90? No. 5 times 5 goes into 9 one time. There's 4 left, 18. There it is, right there. Plus 5 plus 18. Rewrite it. 3y squared plus 5y plus 18y plus 30. Factor by grouping. What's in common? Y times 3y plus 5. What's in common? 3, 6. 6 is the biggest. 6 times 3y plus 5. Ooh, they match. 3y plus 5 times y plus 6. Can I factor further? Nope. And there you go. I think this AC method in sometimes is kind of easier. If you ask me how I do it, I do like this. I do this weird thing where I write the factors of the first and the factors of the second, and I basically FOIL it while I'm doing this. I'm like 3 times 10, 1 times 3, and I do this all in my head and then do it. It's basically it's basically factoring by guessing, but in a condensed version, so I don't have to write everything. Okay, moving on. Okay, I did this as a challenge to myself. I never factor anything with a negative in the front. I think it's the weirdest, goofiest thing ever. But whatever, let's do it. Okay, we know that this has to be a negative, which means that one of these guys has to be a negative. We know that 12 has to be this. So write the factors of 12, and we're trying to get to 1. So 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Most of you probably jumped to 3 times 4. Okay, now I'm going to write 3 and 4, and then I'm going to go ahead and multiply and figure out where the signs go. Okay, because I'm not sure. Negative w squared. Yay, I got that right. Okay. Oh, I need to have this be positive 12. Okay, so it either has to be a positive and a positive or a negative and a negative. So let's see. Okay. That doesn't work. Wait. Okay, so wait, oh yes, this has to be positive 4 to get a negative 4, because I want 4 to be negative and I want 3 to be positive, because that's the only way I get the negative 1, right? This has to add to negative 1 and positive 12. It worked. Negative w squared minus w plus 12. Well, look at me. I did that. I feel like I've never done that before. I never do these. I'm always like, screw that. Factor out the negative. Okay. Here we go. Let's try it again. Except for this time, it's an ugly one because it doesn't have 1 as a leading. Oh my God. Here I did it again. Let's go back to my jam. The nice thing is it's the most recent jam, so it always pulls up first right there. I'm sorry, I'm just having a hard time. I'm having a hard time getting in a comfortable position where I'm not in pain. All right, my back is killing me. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay. So I think for this one, I'm going to use the AC method. 5, 5. Come on, honey. 5. Where's that writing? Guys, you guys, it's not writing for some reason. Why are you not doing this? Okay, let's try opening up my thing. Okay, hang on. see if it'll work now. My Jamboard is not working. Wow. Let me see something really quick. Let me open up another Jamboard and see what's going on here. Sorry about this. Just go about your ways. Let's see. Why is my pen no longer working? My finger is no longer working either, though. Okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Is this working now? No, it isn't. Okay. So I'm going to close that down. Is this working? Okay. Hey, that's working. I don't know what the heck happened. That was like I had a ghost version. You guys, did you see that? Like a ghosty version. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. All right, I'm going to use the AC method. So I'm going to go 5 times 15. I believe is 75. Factor 75, 1 times 75. And we are trying to get to negative 28. Okay. 1 times 75, 2 times 3 times 3 times 25. And there you go. Okay. So we're going to go negative 5b squared minus 3b. Oh, man. This signage is going to kill me. I'm going to have to check it in the end to make sure it works. I feel like it's supposed to be the opposite because the negative gets distributed. But I'll tell you what, you know how we get negative 28? I'm going to go I feel like it's going to be the opposite with this weirdo negative in the front. By the way, I'm not going to test you on this. I'm going to tell you right away. I'll let you go through just like me to learn it. But I'm not going to test you on this. I better make sure I didn't put any in the test. Okay, so we're going to factor by grouping now. And let's see. V is in common. So it's going to be V squared plus 3. I mean, V plus 3, my bad. V plus 3. And then we're going to bring down the minus sign, which means this is going to become a plus. And it's going to be, oh, did I forget the 5? I did. I wrote the wrong answer. That's why it didn't work. Yeah, you know when it doesn't work and you're like, you know you did something wrong? 25. I bet you guys saw that happen and you're probably waiting for me to discover it. Okay, because it's supposed to be negative 25, not 28. These are supposed to, oh, wait a minute. They have to add up to negative 28, guys. I'm just finding all kinds of errors. Check that out. I don't know. That's why I was trying to subtract it. That's why I was going crazy. All right, my bad. Go back to here. Okay, to get negative 28, both of these have to be negative. I still am not positive about the signage, you guys. So I guess we'll find out, okay? I'm going to factor out a negative v, okay? And if that's true, then this is going to be 5v, and this has to be minus 3, okay? The reason why I factored out a negative is because there's a negative in the front, and there's a negative right here. So it's just a way of getting it out, okay? I'm factoring out another negative 5 because that's in common. And I get 5v plus 3. Okay, there lies the problem right there. You know what? Okay. I think what I'm going to have to do is not, oh wow, this is interesting. Factoring by grouping is not that easy on this kind. Okay, so you see how the signage is incorrect? I need to get this to be negative and this to be negative and that to be negative. So, can I do that? Kind of wish I had you guys here so I could problem solve this with you. This is 28, negative 28. Okay, but if I factor, oh, this becomes a positive. Anyhow, that's positive 3. Ah, okay. Man, Miss Baca, If I had a brain sometimes. Okay. So put what's left. 5v plus 3. These two match. Thank God. Okay, that was a little challenging. Because I told you minus signs are my challenge, and that was like, hey, how about really have another challenge? Okay. Factoring a perfect square trinomial with a leading coefficient. All right. Now we get into some pretty easy ones, okay? These ones are fun because they're perfect square trinomial. You don't have to know that. It's just really nice if you do. It's super fast. These ones actually have a formula, and it goes like this: a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, and it equals a plus b quantity squared. All right, what that means is that if I did a plus b times a plus b, and I multiplied it out, I would get to this, okay? And then this is the factorization of that. Now, the question is, can you recognize a perfect square trinomial? Okay, a perfect square trinomial is called that because it describes a perfect square, which I can't draw apparently. It describes a perfect square in the sense that, what do you guys know about a square? You know that the sides are equal, right? All four sides are equal. So basically, if this were representing the area of this, okay, this would be maybe the A area looks like this. Okay. This is maybe the length A, and this is B. So this would be A plus B. And this is A, and this is B. So this would be A plus B. Do you see how they're both A plus B? A is going to be this area, this length, and B is that length. Okay, and look what they make. A times A is A squared. Okay, and if I cut it here, check this out. This little guy right down here, that's a B squared. So I have an A squared and a B squared. And then I have this one is A times B. So the area of that is A times B. The area of that is A times B. And look, I have two ABs. This is why we call it a perfect square trinomial, because the area is describing two sides that are equal. Again, you don't have to understand that. Dang, if you do, it's way fun. Okay, so is there anything in common? No. Can I factor it? Possibly. It's got three terms. It's quadratic. Okay, this is how you would do it without knowing. Y, and then factor a 1. 1 and a 1 has to be the same sign. It's going to be positive. And there you go. And then you get y plus 1 quantity squared. Okay, the question is whether or not you could recognize it. Y squared plus 6y plus 9. If you're looking at that and you actually realize that what you have here, to get it, 9 is actually 3 squared. Okay, and y is y squared. If I take 3 times y and multiply it by 2, I'll get 6y. So those of you that recognize this could jump immediately to this answer. If you can understand the formula and get there. If you don't understand the formula, who cares? Just factor the thing and you'll get there. Okay? Next. All right, we're factoring this quadratic. It's a perfect square trinomial. They cheated and they told you. Okay, the square root of 81 is 9. The square root of v is v. Okay, v times 9 is 9. V times 2 is 18. This has a minus sign. So this is the case of this, where you have a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. And you get a minus b times b squared. That's that formula. Okay, or by the way, it goes this way too. If you multiply it, you get that. And if you factor it, you get that. So what they want you to do is literally just get there. 5 minus 9 quantity squared. I am going to tell you that you will remember it for the Alex lesson. After that, you'll probably have to do this. Okay. And then you're like, oh, that was a perfect square trinomial. Okay, again, perfect square trinomial. U, square root of u is u. Square root of u squared is u. Square root of 5 is 25 is 5. Okay, 5 times u is 5, u times 2 is 10. Yep, perfect square trinomial. U plus 5, quantity squared. And if you wanted to check it, you could always check it by doing FOIL, okay? Yeah, we've done enough foiling today. You got this. All right. Now it's a perfect square trinomial with a leading coefficient greater than 1. So basically, what is the square root of 9w squared? It's going to be 3w. What is the square root of 64? 8. So what they want you to do is multiply these two and then multiply it by 2. And that's going to be the middle term, right? See that? And so, yes, we know it's a perfect square trinomial. So what do we put? We put the square roots in here. 3u plus 8 quantity squared. That's following the formula. Okay, this is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And then it equals a plus b quantity squared. So really all you need to know is the a and b if it's a perfect square trinomial. But you have to check the middle to see if it is a perfect square trinomial. So let's check this. If they didn't tell us, stop telling us the answer, people. Okay, let's check it. 6v, 5. Multiply them together, and you get 30v times 2, 60v. Is that the middle term? Check. Except for this one has a minus sign. So that one, you go 6v minus 5 quantity squared. The special cases are way fun. Difference of squares. I expect you to know this word, this phrase, difference of squares. I expect you to recognize this. You guys, oh, anything in common? Ready? Let's start factoring it. Anything in common? No. How many terms? There are 2 terms. The only binomial quadratic that you can factor is difference of 2 squares. Why do we call it the difference of 2 squares? Because that's a square, and that's a square. So this is going to be u and u, 2 things to multiply together to get 9. But look, what is the coefficient of the u term? It's gone, so it's 0. What makes 0? Plus 9, minus 9. Okay, this is the formula like this. A minus b times a plus b is equal to a minus b quantity squared. Okay, or, oops, wait, not a times b quantity squared. Get out of here. Get out of here. I didn't say that. I didn't mean that. A squared minus b squared. Okay, not in parentheses. Oh my God. Okay, so this is called the difference of 2 squared. See, difference, words mean things, of 2 squares. So this is the factorization. This is the multiplication. That's the formula. Put it down and you'll be able to apply it to all kinds of things. Z squared minus 4. Z squared squared minus 4. Z minus 2 plus 2 makes 0. Keep going. Okay, now we don't have a 1. Who cares? We are so smart. We know that the square root is 49y squared is 7y. We know that the square root of 36 is 6. And so the answer to this is 7y minus 6 times 7y plus 6. Okay, moving on. Last one. Square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 25z squared is 5z. By the way, if that's not the square root, you can't factor it. So don't do it, okay? So you're going to get 6 minus 5z, 6 plus 5z. Cool? Is that it? One more? Okay, flip it around. 5y is the square root, 9. So it's 5y minus 9, 5y plus 9. I'm kind of ignoring the fact that you go, wait a minute, anything in common? No. Okay, how many terms? 2. Is it the difference of 2 squares? Yes. Okay, that's really the question. Common, anything in common? Answer 2. number of terms? If the answer is 2, is it the difference of 2 squares? I have a hard time doing that. Okay, that's when you can factor it. Okay, later we'll learn the difference of 2 cubes, but those are the only 2. Okay, all right, I think that's it for factoring. So good luck.